Hi, everybody. Welcome to Black Americana. I'm Ashley, and in today's episode, we are doing a retrospect on the life and career of Sisqo. Some might argue his run at the forefront of the music industry was short, but his impact continues to be felt. So we will talk about his rise and why it suddenly stopped. So if you're ready, keep watching. Sisqo was born Mark Andrews on November 9, 1978 in Baltimore, Maryland to Alonzo and Carolyn Andrews, the youngest of three children. His musical talent was first noticed when his babysitter would take him to her choir practices and his young voice would pierce through the harmonies. But Sisqo's first inspiration to become an entertainer was when he watched Michael Jackson perform the moonwalk on Motown 25. His persona took shape at an early age too, when his peers began comparing him to the fictional Western character, the Sisqo Kid, because of his curly hair. From there, the name Sisqo stuck. He came from a structured household and was active in the church choir, but he still felt the need to prove himself to the streets. He told the Los Angeles Times, "My mother and father were middle class, and my grandmother lived in the ghetto, so I used to spend my summers at her house. I was that guy that, when the police would come, I would continue to wild out. I had no self-control." After an incident where he found himself sitting in jail, he realized it was time to change his life and decided to pursue music as a career. But the transition wasn't that simple. He went through a period of struggle, at one point holding down 3 jobs at a time. His father was skeptical of his singing career, but his mother was encouraging. He also became a father at 17. During his young teen years, he joined a singing group brought together by a mutual friend. By the time the young men were ready to pursue a record deal, they had rounded out into a quartet: Sisqo, Samir Nokia Ruffin, Larry Jazz Anthony, and James Whitty Green. Along with a shared church background, they were inspired by other male groups of the time like Jodeci and Boyz II Men. Now, this isn't a Dru Hill biography, so some details on the group will be condensed. The group, going by the name Legacy, signed to Island Records in 1995, but the label soon told them they needed to change their name. They ultimately landed on Dru Hill, the nickname of a popular park in Baltimore named Dru Hill Park. But as we know, the music business has never just been about music. Sisqo needed a persona. He stands at 5'5" and then weighed 142 pounds, and he had the good foresight to just lean into these attributes. He said, "I wanted to be different, so Nokia got me to dye my hair and put earrings in my head. I had never thought of such things before, but it gave me a look." Sisqo viewed himself as a character and decided to be his own superhero. He custom designed many of his outfits, often working alongside Jonathan Logan. The group's debut single was Tell Me, and Sisqo choreographed that iconic jump as they built the chorus. He came to the video shoot with his blonde hair, sparking a battle with his label. Sisqo stood firm, and the look became instantly iconic. With his unique aesthetic and piercing tenor, many keyed in on Sisqo as the group's breakout star. He began to build his resume as a songwriter, co-writing Maya's first 2 singles and lending a feature to her debut single, It's All About Me. As the group prepped its second album, the first single, How Deep Is Your Love, was placed on the Rush Hour soundtrack. Sisqo freestyled his part of the song, and from there he stopped writing his lyrics on paper. They received another soundtrack placement for the Will Smith film Wild Wild West. With the song being the same name, it heavily sampled Stevie Wonder's I Wish, but Sisqo reintroduced the riff for a new generation. Although it was a Dru Hill feature, Sisqo was prominently placed throughout the video. His group member Woody, already spiritually torn about being in a secular group, walked off the set after feeling like an afterthought. The song reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and increased Dru Hill's international profile. The remaining 3 members tried to ride the momentum, but things quickly fizzled. Despite Sisqo's prominence as a singer, the group's chemistry very much depended on them operating as a quartet. The public was resistant to seeing them as a trio. Sisqo, Nokio, and Jazz hoped Woody would have a change of heart and return to the group. During this holdover, their label Island Records became a part of a music unit with Def Jam Records. To sustain Def Jam, the group was transferred to the label subsidiary Def Soul. Sisqo told Billboard magazine, "A lot of record companies at the time thought hip-hop was a fad and wasn't gonna last. With Def Jam having Dru Hill, it allowed them to be invited places they usually weren't. So they immediately wanted an album. I didn't want to do another Dru Hill album until Woody was ready to come back. I went to the label and asked if I could do a solo record, since Will Smith saying my name on Wild Wild West was kind of like an alley-oop. He literally introduced me to the world." End quote. The label still wasn't in favor of a solo project. Sisqo felt the group was getting lost in the shuffle and began recording a solo project using his own money, bolstered by a loan from his manager. He finished the bulk of the album in 2.5 weeks, but was left nearly bankrupt. Sisqo began to shop the songs to DJs, and the response was infectious. Soon they were asking for an album. Seeing the growing demand, the label agreed to an album release. Sisqo's solo debut album, Unleash the Dragon, was released on November 30th, 1999, and he incorporated certain Dru Hill motifs, like their love for Asian themes. The first single was Got to Get It. While it made a modest impression, pop radio latched onto the 8th track on the album called Thong Song. It might be hard to believe today, but at the turn of the millennium, many people did not know what a thong was. The shock value of thongs was a brilliant marketing strategy, but the musicality, especially those sophisticated violin strings, gave the song a certain mystique. Yet Def Jam couldn't see the vision at the time. The label thought Thong Song was too novel. Still, the song ignited radio and the label relented. Because television was a more conservative place in 2000, Sisqo had to be creative for the music videos to relay the theme of the song but keep things within guidelines. The result was a visual that would become synonymous with spring break. But there were 2 legal headaches with this song. One ended terribly, and another Sisqo caught a break. Let's start with the bad news first. In the song, Sisqo says the line "Livin' La Vida Loca," invoking Ricky Martin's hit of the same name. Now, apparently, this is a rather common phrase in Spanish, but the songwriters of Ricky's tune went after Sisqo and songwriting production duo Tim and Bob for publishing. For that one small line, the Livin' La Vida Loca songwriters now own the majority of the Thong Song. In the demo of the song, the violins were inspired by Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. Sisqo decided to interpolate the song by humming a modified melody to violinist Bruce Dukov. Paul McCartney, who alongside John Lennon, wrote most of the Beatles' catalog. He apparently wanted to pursue a claim against Thong Song as well. While Paul received songwriting royalties, he didn't own the publishing. Michael Jackson did. Michael decided not to pursue a publishing stake in the song, a decision Sisqo says left Paul angry at Michael. You would think Sisqo delivering a hit song and video would make his label trust him more, but it seems it might have breeded resentment. His third single was slated to be Unleash the Dragon. Sisqo wrote a treatment for the video, and Def Jam agreed to fund the most expensive video in label history, a reported $2.5 million extravaganza. The final edit was a disaster. Rather than an edgy statement, it looked like a corny fantasy. Although it was a systemic failure, Sisqo took the heat. In a 2020 interview with The Ringer, he said, "To be completely honest, I feel like the video was sabotage because I had a list of things that I had written to the label that I expressed. I was like, if we do these 3 things, this video is going to be both whack and a waste of money." The first thing was, if the video was in the daytime, it was going to be lame. Then the video was in the daytime. I said, if the dragon don't bust out of the ground and the dragon just comes around the corner, the video is going to be lame. What did the dragon do? Come right around the corner. I said, if the buildings are brick instead of glass, it's going to be lame. What were the buildings? Brick. It was almost like they did exactly the opposite. Sisqo says he was so preoccupied with perfecting the special effects and securing talent that by the time he made it to the video set, he had to accept the conditions as they were. It would result in permanent damage to his relationship with Def Jam. Another issue was the album's fourth single. Sisqo co-wrote most of the album, but the label pressured him to add a song called Incomplete, co-written by Shep Crawford and his fellow Def Jam label mate Montel Jordan. Sisqo felt the song sounded too much like Dru Hill, but caved and recorded it. Despite the Unleash the Dragon fiasco, Thong's song was still sustaining as a hit. It had the potential to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, but Sisqo said a label executive stifled it so Incomplete could ride high. Said record executive had a publishing stake in Incomplete, so it became a priority. And sure enough, Incomplete reached #1 on the charts. It was a bittersweet victory. Sisqo enjoyed other wins. He opened for NSYNC on tour, hosted a dance competition show on MTV called Sisqo Shakedown, and scored endorsement deals with McDonald's and Pepsi. To date, his debut album has sold more than 5 million copies in the United States alone. He also sang on some of the hottest hip-hop collaborations of the era, such as What They Want by DMX and How Many Licks by Lil' Kim. Sisqo's music reflected he was a ladies' man, but his flamboyant style sparked widespread speculation about his preference. Sisqo denied being gay, telling Ebony magazine in 2000, "They are still confused in the hood. The guys in the hood all think I'm gay, but it's all good. I would think I was gay too. The things I wear, you're not supposed to be wearing if you're a guy. I understand the whole gay thing. It's fun to me. Because of the way I dress and because I do my own hair, people think I must be gay. I don't mind because I have gay fans, so I just keep it general. If you want to think that, I don't care." He was also having separation anxiety from Dru Hill. He valued their friendship and was concerned his success was chipping away at their unity. He told Billboard magazine, quote, "It's typical that labels push a lot of artists from boy bands to the forefront to have solo aspirations. But in actuality, I never wanted to be a solo artist. I really wanted us to be the best Boys to Men or Jodeci that we could be. We really looked up to them. So me going solo was kind of out of necessity." He scored 7 nominations at the Grammy Awards held in 2001, but he was shut out of every category. Some critics even said he was undeserving of the nominations at all. Sisqo was in a new battle, being seen as a serious music artist and not a lucrative gimmick. Sisqo tried to counter this by releasing his sophomore solo effort Return of Dragon on June 19, 2001. Sisqo felt his first album sounded too close to Dru Hill, so he scaled back his songwriting, enlisting more outside help. The label's biggest concern, however, was if he could deliver them another Thong song. Sisqo also walked himself into some industry beefs. During an interview with the New York Daily News, he spoke on Usher, saying, "You think you're the man, buddy? I'm the man. Usher cannot touch me. He ain't even close. I want everyone to know that no R&B artist can touch my skill. To this day, nobody can out-sing me. I will sing anybody under the table." Sisqo would repeat these sentiments to various outlets. The album only had 2 singles, both of which failed to chart on the Billboard Hot 100. He used the first single, Can I Live, as an opportunity to introduce the Dragon family, made up of his label signees, including rap group The Associates and girl group Love Her. They performed together at the first annual BET Awards in 2001. The album managed to go platinum, but Sisqo began to feel the weight of not replicating his previous success. Usher addressed the tepid sales on an episode of BET's 106 & Park. Riding high on the success of his album 8701, Usher said something to the effect of, "I ain't worried about Lil' Man. Look at his record sales and look at mine." R. Kelly also took Sisqo's statement as a slight and dissed Sisqo on a song called Hold Up, which was scrapped from the collaborative album he did with Jay-Z, Best of Both Worlds. The song still managed to circulate and cause a chatter. R. Kelly also appeared on Rap City and dissed Sisqo.
At the club, at F What's Wands, said I wouldn't mention Sisqo. it, he's a bomb. Ali Boombaye hit you with the right hook, you be like, what the was that? Me and Jigga, we are like the industry's popo. Y'all can't even without demos.
R. Kelly would later release a song called Throw Your Thong, which appeared to be a thinly veiled take on the Thong song and was marketed with an Asian-inspired Dru Hill-like video. Sisqo also pursued a movie career around this time with films such as Get Over It and Snow Dogs. Many noted he flashed on the screen, but his movie career quickly cooled. Dru Hill regrouped and delivered its long-anticipated third album in the fall of 2002. While Dru Hill's faithful fans loved the album, their project was riddled with promotional issues. For one, the label felt a larger public demand was not there. The album produced only one top 40 hit. Months later, Def Jam signed another established male R&B quartet, 112, and Dru Hill felt they were slipping as a priority. Shortly afterwards, Sisqo found himself ensnarled in a legal nightmare. He and his then girlfriend Tara Thomas alleged they were receiving unaliving threats. According to police, Sisqo went out on his porch and fired 3 shots into his neighbor's driveway. At the time, the neighbor's brother was parked in the driveway and was sitting in a vehicle. 2 other people jumped in the car and they alleged shots continued to be fired as they drove off. Police state when they questioned Sisqo and Tara, they denied using ammunition, but according to reports, police found empty shell casings, a magazine clip, and a 9mm pistol that appeared to have been recently fired. Police claim Sisqo resisted arrest and he and Tara went on a profanity-laced tirade. He was charged with first and second-degree assault, reckless endangerment, and resisting arrest. The charges were dropped, but it was a major blow to the group's already fragile standing. In early 2004, music mogul L.A. Reid was tapped as chairman of the Island Def Jam Music Group. He clashed with Kevin Liles, then Def Jam president, who was a champion of Dru Hill. Shortly after Kevin was ousted, L.A. dropped Dru Hill, deeming them destructive and unproductive, and Sisqo's contract was not renewed. Sisqo denied the group was breaking up, as they continued to tour overseas without a label. Sisqo's sudden disappearance baffled many. Some even questioned if he was blackballed. Sisqo acknowledged industry politics played a part. After experiencing success funding his own album and essentially selling it to the label, Sisqo wanted to replicate the process. Labels were resistant. He was also adamant about using his own team of talent rather than who the label recommended. He told All Hip Hop it was an ego battle because he had proven his method worked, saying, "Our biggest hits were written and produced by our own camp. So you can see where the conflict of interest is. You can see how they kind of coined us as troublemakers." In 2007, he decided to diss Usher and R. Kelly in a song called One Finger. In the song, he listed his accomplishments and told his rivals to stop wearing his aesthetic, like the dragon. With no major backing and Usher and R. Kelly having a duet called Same Girl released around the same time, many just wrote Sisqo off as bitter. He began to venture into reality TV, both with Dru Hill and as a solo artist. He seemed poised for a resurgence when he competed on the British edition of Big Brother in 2010, but horrid allegations quickly surfaced. A woman named Jamila Fareed alleged Sisqo impregnated her when she was 14 and he was in his early 20s. She claimed that they crossed paths as Dru Hill was touring Switzerland and Sisqo invited her to his hotel. She states she never told him her age and he never asked. She claims she gave birth to their son and managed to secure a child support judgment against him in Switzerland, although a paternity test had yet to be done. As of today, it is unclear if this woman is telling the truth or if Sisqo ever took a DNA test, but the rumors hampered his newfound momentum. He re-emerged in a major way in 2024 when he competed on The Masked Singer. Although he didn't win, he said the show gave him an opportunity to show who he is beyond one song, telling People magazine, "I learned how to market me without talking about the Thong song. You couldn't even see me. They had all of these clues with stuff I had even forgotten." He also solidified himself as a family man. Along with his eldest daughter, he has 2 children with his wife Elizabeth, who he married in 2018. And he continues to tour with Dru Hill, celebrating their classic catalog. Some might want to discount Sisqo because his mainstream run was brief, but his impact is undeniable. For one, he introduced a fashion secret to the mainstream. The discussion around thongs has 2 phases, before Sisqo and after Sisqo. He also pushed the boundaries of male artists experimenting with their look. The hair color changes might seem tame today, but it was cutting edge in its time. He brought acrobatics to his stage act, with the influence being immediately clear with boy band B2K and later Chris Brown. And to make things sweeter, Sisqo owns the masters to most of his debut album. His business tactics might have severed some ties, but his business model is what many artists today are pursuing. Thank you for spending your time with us. Please subscribe if you haven't already, like, comment, and share. Also, sign up for our newsletter at blackamericana.substack.com and be sure to check out our apparel in our YouTube store. See you soon.